I wrote a screenplay. It's based on a true story. My dad was a fireman who died in the line of duty in 2005 in a fire known as Black Sunday. It was actually two fires. He passed away in the Bronx fire, and then there was also a Brooklyn fire on the same day. And it's a pretty infamous day because it's one of the only days where two fires on the same day have led to fireman deaths in New York and just nationally as well. He was forced to jump 5 stories from an illegally subletted apartment because they couldn't find the fire escape. And also, 5 years before that fire, New York City had taken away equipment that would have saved all of the firemen's lives. So it led to a criminal trial and a civil trial. And those, because of delayed courts in the Bronx, it took 5 years to do the criminal trial and then 12 years to do the civil trial. So I wrote the screenplay about it, and I'm now promoting the screenplay on my website, which is johnbellew.com. And I kind of tell more about like my story and what I'm trying to do.
That was Katreana Bellew, who's working on getting her emotional screenplay about her late father made into a movie. Katreana threw out the ceremonial first pitch before the Irish Wolfhounds took on the FDNY's Bravest Baseball Club on August 26th. For more information, go to johnbellew.com. That's JOHNBELLEW.com. Hello, and welcome to episode 73 of the Irish Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Becker. On today's show, my good friend Brian McCartan will interview Katreana Bellew about her screenplay, first pitch, and more. After that, hear Brian and me open up an old pack of baseball cards in a segment we call Old Stale Gum. Take it away, Brian.
All right, everybody, how you doing? My name is Brian McCartan. You're here for the Irish American Baseball Podcast. I'm here with Kat Bellew. How are you, Kat?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, so we're here to talk about what you're working on. Obviously, first off, I saw you throw the first pitch out at the game.
Yes.
Let's talk
I was
about
very nervous.
let's talk about the first pitch. Did you practice at all before you did the first pitch?
Of course I did. I did softball growing up, so like I knew how to throw a ball.
Right.
I just hadn't done it in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And my family was more nervous for me than I was, and they made me practice the night before. And
So that's what I was going to ask, is if you actually had anybody go out there and be like, all right, we're going to go 60 feet and we're going to do a regulation shot here because you can't bounce it. And then,
yeah. Well, I more like was worried about like it just going completely wayward. And I
so you thought you were going to go, you thought you were going to overshoot it.
No, I didn't think I was going to overshoot it. I thought I was going to go like too far to the right or too far to the left, which I thought would have been more embarrassing than just like bouncing it.
There's like the famous story about President Bush, after 9/11, when he goes to throw out the first pitch at the World Series and Jeter tells him, hey, listen, you can't bounce it, they'll boo you. And so you think about being the president.
Before, I had people sending me TikToks of like failed first pitches, and they were like, as long as you don't do this, and I was like, please stop.
There's some bad ones out there. So I watched it when it happened. Obviously I follow the Baseball Society on all social media and stuff like that, and you all should too. I watched it and I was like, you know what, that wasn't a bad deal, but it looked like you worked on it, because some people go out there and they really do a terrible job with it, but you did a great job.
I was like sweating. I was really, really nervous, but
it
ended up
terrible.
going pretty okay. Yeah.
So let's talk about what you got going on. You want to tell your story here? Obviously, we could talk about your dad and what happened and why you're raising for money for what you're doing. And if you want to just tell the people what you have going on, that'd be great.
Yeah. So basically, I wrote a screenplay. It's based on a true story. My dad was a fireman who died in the line of duty in 2005 in a fire known as Black Sunday. It was actually two fires. He passed away in the Bronx fire, and then there was also a Brooklyn fire on the same day. And it's a pretty infamous day because it's one of the only days where two fires on the same day have led to fireman deaths in New York and just nationally as well. So he was forced to jump 5 stories from an illegally subletted apartment because they couldn't find the fire escape. And also 5 years before that fire, New York City had taken away equipment that would have saved all of the firemen's lives. So it led to a criminal trial and a civil trial. And those, because of delayed courts in the Bronx, it took 5 years to do the criminal trial and then 12 years to do the civil trial. So I wrote the screenplay about it, and I'm now promoting the screenplay on my website, which is johnbellew.com. And I kind of tell more about like my story and what I'm trying to do. And I'm at the stage where I'm connecting with investors, actors, directors to hopefully get it made soon.
Had you ever written a screenplay before?
So I study screenwriting at NYU currently, and I've written pilots and I've written short films, but this was my first feature-length screenplay. And I started writing it actually in class, in a workshop in class, and then kind of took it once the semester ended. I took it and went beyond and just kept revising, and then submitted it to film festivals, and it's now been recognized in, I think, 19 film festivals.
Have you found it to be like a I mean, obviously it's a very personal story for you, and I know you were young, but I mean, it doesn't matter what age you are. Losing a parent is terrible, no matter what happens, no matter whether you're 1 or you're 100 years old. Did you find it to be difficult, being that it was so personal? Did you find it difficult to get it down, or did you find it difficult to put it out there for everybody to see?
I actually didn't, because I've become in recent years really open about talking about it, because I wasn't for such a long time, and I was a super closed off person. And then as I, started working on myself as a person and also just kind of becoming more open about it, it became easier to talk about. But I thought it was a really cool experience to write it, because I got to hear these stories that like my mom was telling me and that other firemen were telling me, about my dad, about like the whole process of like the court and like the aftermath of his death, that I never knew before. And I kind of feel like I just know the story so much better, and like it makes it easier to understand rather than just like some event that's happened. So yeah, I thought it was actually like really, it felt good to get it all down on paper.
Did you find anything out about your dad in the process that you never knew before? We're talking to like the guys that he worked with.
Oh yeah, I found out a lot in the process of like, since creating this website and I have like a contact page, I have people who will email me and they'll just like tell me little stories, and they'll be like I got connected to somebody recently who was my uncle's best friend in like elementary school, and he was telling me the story of remembering the day that my dad was born, because
Oh, wow.
my dad was the youngest of so many children. And it's just like a really cool, even just hearing stories about like he was a super sarcastic guy, and like them being like, oh, he was like busting my balls that day. And it's just
Yeah.
really nice to like see and hear. And yeah.
Yeah, it's that. Cards on the table here. Both my mom and my dad both passed this year recently, and
Oh,
it
I'm
was
sorry.
no, it's fine. And it was one of those things. That the reason I asked that was I was at my mom's wake, and we're not a big wake family. I hate those things, and I hate doing them. And it's already awkward enough being at this thing. I had a lady come up to me, never met this woman a day in my life, never seen her a day in my life, who came up to me and told me that she grew up with my mom in the old neighborhood, and I'd never heard of this person, never seen her.
Mhm.
And she was telling me like this story about my mom as a kid, like something completely like innocent, and oh, I remember when we played here and we used to. I was like, nobody's ever told me this. So it's kind of like the same situation where you realize that like, oh, people are going to tell you something about your parents that you never even knew before. You realize they had a whole other life before you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting.
And you realize like how many people they touched in their life.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really cool to see, because it just makes you realize that like you've probably touched the same amount of people, but you would never know what was important to other people that you didn't even think twice about.
Right.
Which is just really cool to learn.
Yeah. How did you have siblings, correct?
Mm-hmm. So I have 3 siblings. At the time of the fire, my sister was 6, my brother was 3, I was 2, and my younger brother was 5 months old. So now I'm 21, my younger brother's 18, no, 19. And my sister is 24, my older brother is 22.
How did your mom and your siblings feel about what you were doing and what you were going out there to accomplish?
My mom was super supportive, and I sat with her for like 10 hours to like interview her, and just like and then even like to this day, she'll like text me little stories and she's like, oh, like this could be cool to include. And my siblings are also just like really supportive, and like they all just kind of wanted to read the script when I finished it.
Right. That sounds really it sounds great. It's also something I guess you and your siblings can connect on. You know, you guys all have that common bond, and having, I'm an only child. It's hard for me to relate to sibling stuff, but I have three kids and they're all killing each other in this house most days of the week. So it's got to be a nice thing for you guys to have together too, to have a bond like that and something to keep your dad's memory alive. I think that's a really great thing that you guys have going.
Yeah, I think like we're a lot closer just because of what has happened in our life.
Sure. So you're from Pearl River, New York.
Yes, I am.
Rockland County's, little Ireland of Rockland County. What was it like growing up in Pearl River? How did it affect your screenplays? How did it affect how you write, how you go about your everyday, creative process?
For anyone who knows Pearl River, it really just is like everyone's from Ireland, a few people from England. I'm 100% Irish, and most of my friends are. But it's just a really like community driven town, and like everybody kind of steps out to like support you. It's also a big town for firemen and police officers, so like in the process of like the tragedy that happened to my family when we were younger, like there were so many people that were just constantly around to help because they understood like that could be my husband or that could be my dad. And in this whole process of like me promoting my screenplay, they've been extremely, extremely supportive, and everybody's just really excited for the process. And because it is a small town, like you could walk down the street and somebody's like, oh, I saw your website, like I'm rooting for you, which is just really nice. And I'm on my website because like the whole like the FDNY itself and like the fire department is very like Irish community in general. So on my website I sell these hats with like a little shamrock on it, just because like that's kind of like the basis, like the values are all kind of rooted in like that culture. And so now I walk around town and I see everybody wearing the hats, which is really cool.
I'm sure anybody who's ever been to an FDNY Emerald Society function could tell you how much fun it is, and how the roots of the Irish culture inside the fire department are deep. Even to this day. And obviously, the fire department is changing, and it has changed over the years. But one thing that hasn't changed is that deep-rooted Irish connection. And Pearl River, which seems to maintain the same town. And, some places change and some towns seem to evolve over time. Like I said, I'm from Yonkers. My old neighborhood, I'm from the north end of Yonkers, which at one time back in the day was a very, very Irish-American neighborhood, and that's no longer the case. That's completely gone. In Yonkers, my wife's from the McLean Avenue area, from Woodlawn, and that whole area is still hanging on too. There's still these Irish, neighborhoods that are still hanging on, and it's good to see that they're still there.
Yeah, well, my brother actually lives like right by Woodlawn because he went to Manhattan College, and then
really, it's surprising to hear a kid from Pearl River move to Woodlawn, right?
Yeah.
I believe it was one of the McShane sisters. I don't know if it was Amanda or Emily. Told me the thing about their dad, where they were saying how, the father came from Ireland and lived in Woodlawn and worked hard to move to Pearl River just to have all his kids get old enough to move right back to Woodlawn on them, But it's always a funny thing. So, any other screenplays you're working on? Anything else you have going on in the future besides this?
Yeah, so right now I'm focused on getting this produced and like talking to investors and like raising money for that. But I'm always writing something new. So I'm still in my final year at NYU and I'm writing constantly.
Yeah, sure. So just give everybody the social media again. I don't know, johnbellew.com, I believe is the website, right?
It's johnbellew.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Black Sunday Film. The script is called Black Sunday. And we regularly post people wearing our hats in different parts of the world. So if you go on a trip and you have our hat, send us a picture.
Sure. So guys, go to johnbellew.com. Go get yourself a hat. It goes to a great cause. You want to see this film get made. It's nice to see young people from great neighborhoods doing great things. And good luck in school. Good luck with everything you have going on. And again, it's got to be tough. You guys lose a parent, especially so young. It's got to be so hard. But to see that you're coming up and you're making the best of a really bad situation is great. And lots of luck to you and your family.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
I'm Rick Becker, and this is the Irish Baseball Podcast. That was Brian McCartan interviewing Katreana Bellew. For more information about her screenplay, go to johnbellew.com. That's JOHNBELLEW.com. Every once in a while, Brian and I like to open up old packs of baseball cards for a segment we call Old Stale Gum. You can see videos of these openings by following the Irish American Baseball Society on social media. Right now, we're going to go down memory lane by cracking open a pack of 1993 Stadium Club cards. Rip it open, Brian.
No, you got to get that sound. Yeah, love it.
All right, we're going to start with this one. And just the jersey alone makes this is Mr. John, and we got a little glare because these cards are glossy, but here's a John Johnstone from the
John Johnstone in that old Marlins jersey.
Yeah,
man.
Back of the cards here says he went 7-7 that year for the Marlins in 92, but nice card. Bud Black.
Well, hold on a second. Let's get back to that card. 93 would have been the first year for the Marlins, right?
Yeah, I think it would have been. Yeah, you're right. This is a 92 stats. So, in 1992, he was 7-7. It says here. So,
did it say with who?
No, it just says 90. It just says 92. I'm assuming it was with the Marlins, but the Marlins didn't start till 93, right? There's, on the back of the card here, it's got a 93 Topps picture. Now I'm gonna see if we can get in here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So it's got like a picture of his rookie card, his Topps rookie card. This is a 93 Stadium Club. So yeah.
Did they come out like mid-season or something?
Because that's the wrapper here. I'm looking at this wrapper, and it doesn't say anything about. Stadium Club was an offshoot of Topps. Remember, so these were like the Topps premium cards. So maybe it was like hey, you can get the 93 Topps, and now here's the better card.
Right.
The original upsell there. So go figure. Here's Bud Black.
Yeah, back in his playing days.
Looking good in the back. See, again, on the back of the card here, if you look. It's got a picture of his Topps card from that year, his rookie card, his 83.
Yeah. Wow, that was a good set right there, that 83 Topps.
Yeah, the 83 set, yeah. Pretty cool. Nice little...
Well, he had a nice long career then.
Yeah, 100%. He had... this was 93, and he had already had a bunch of years, 11 years in the game. He had good years. He was a good ball player. I mean, enough to end up being a great manager down the road, right?
Right.
I love the landscape.
You do like those that are...
I love the landscape. This is Frank Bollock from the Montreal Expos.
Oh, man, looking at those old Expos. A lot of these appear to be spring training pictures. I bet you this did come out like mid-season or something.
Sure, and then it's got, again, I like this little feature they have on the back where they show his rookie card.
Oh, those top prospect cards.
Yeah, so it's cool. They show like the rookie card on the back of the card. Is oh boy, here we go. Greg Swindell. Little Astros card. Nice little action shot. They do look like spring training shots.
Exactly. This will help with our immaculate grids. We'll be like, oh yeah, Greg Swindell was with the, X, Y, and Z that one year.
I got another one here. Jody Reed. I remember Jody Reed.
Jody Reed. Where is this? With the Rangers? No, the Dodgers.
Dodgers, yeah. And if you
that's going to be good for the grid right there.
Yeah, look at the rookie card with the Sox.
I had that card. I remember that.
He looks drunk as a monkey in that in that picture there. But
he's the only guy who has ever looked 45 in his rookie card. I want to see how good his career was because, obviously, when we look back at those days when we're kids and these guys seem like bigger than life,
Sure.
I want to see his career. 11 years, just no hit. 270 batting average, but a 700 OPS plus of 91, and that's position adjusted. So that even includes going up against other second basemen. Yes. He was just a guy who was
early 90s second baseman weren't exactly hitting him
on some rosters, right? Yeah. But if you're doing your impossible grids, he works for the Red Sox, Dodgers, Brewers. That's a tough one on grids. Padres and Tigers.
So crazy. Here we go. Great Yankee broadcaster, Mr. Al Leiter.
Al Leiter, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one here.
He's another guy I want to look up because I want to see how his career was compared to what I think it was.
Look at the rookie card on the back here. Look at the Yankees' future star.
Future stars, and it's in that like rainbow.
Yeah.
Love it.
Al Leiter came up with the Yanks. I always forget that. People always forget that.
He played for 19 years.
Yeah, man. He had years under his belt.
Wow.
Played in that 2000 World Series with the Mets against the Yankees.
Yeah. Yeah.
That year he had the World Series against the Yankees. Like, he was not an easy day. And he'd already been pitching for like 13, 14 years by then.
He was 16-8 with a 3.20 ERA.
Right. In New York in the early 2000s where everybody was juicing, you know? Like,
yeah, 208 innings. Like, he was a workhorse. Had a shutout that year. Started 31 games. Yeah.
that's a lot for a guy at that age.
That was a big year for him.
3 more here. Oh. Rick, come on. The Hawk. Andre Dawson in a
Andre
Red Sox
Dawson
jersey.
as a Red Sox.
As a Red Sox. Look at the Hawk. We were just talking earlier about the size of Andre Dawson. It says here that he's 6'3", 197.
Yeah, he's 197. Like, remember when they made Trump and it said he was like 215? I think this
Exactly.
made these two guys.
Look at the rookie. I love these rookie cards on the back. These are cool.
That's great with him too.
And I never thought in a pack like this that I would pull this card. And now, usually, we do these all the time. And when I do them, most of these cards just kind of go into a box somewhere. But this one is going to go away. And there's Mr. Barry Bonds.
Oh, wow.
What a great pull.
That card oh my goodness. Look at that picture.
Dude, what a great pull. Great pull. I'm actually really happy I pulled that because that is a great card right there. I'm 10 years old right now.
Let's not get into any controversy or talk about anything that happened after 1993. But that picture right there is one of the greatest baseball players you've ever seen play.
Longest home run I ever saw in my life was in Yankee Stadium. Barry Bonds. If you can go on YouTube today, kids, and type in Barry Bonds Yankee Stadium home run and look at the moonshot that he hit. And we were sitting there that day. I had never seen anything like it in my life. I was like, well, I fully expected that to happen.
That would have been his first or second. Yeah, that was his first year with them.
With the Giants, probably, yeah.
Yeah. So these Stadium Club definitely came out later because 93 was his first year with the Giants. These are 93 Stadium Club. And that looks like that's a Scottsdale picture. That is from spring training.
So the highlight of this pack is definitely Barry Bonds. Behind him, Andre Dawson.
I just want to go through Barry Bonds and his 1993. So nobody thinks he was on the juice this year. Scored 109 runs, walked 127 times, hit .311 with a .456 on base, .624 slugging, a 1.080 OPS, a 204 OPS plus.
How many bags did he steal?
46 bombs, 29 stolen bases.
Who's doing that?
For Brian McCartan and Katreana Bellew, I'm your host, Rick Becker, and this has been episode 73 of the Irish Baseball Podcast.